He tired of everyone. Written by Johnny Fist. "When will we see each other again?" the young girl asked the old gray-haired man, weary of life. "Read the obituaries," he replied. "Read them, and you'll find out." Then she left and never saw him again. She firmly believed that they would meet some day, and that his remark about the obituaries had merely been a joke, a manner of speaking. And so she never read newspapers or articles of any kind. She never searched for obituaries. She searched for another meeting with him. The old man was something of a guide for the girl. She reread his books, his columns in the local newspaper, all his notes and essays. She knew his style and understood everything he wrote. And so she found him. She found him 1,000 miles from her home. Or so it seemed to her. She had spent far too long searching. In reality, he had lived only a few blocks away from her all along. He was a writer who had never known fame and wrote under an invented pseudonym. She was a young, wealthy woman who, contrary to the accepted habits of fashionable young socialites, loved reading and self-improvement rather than self-destruction. Having stumbled upon one of his works by chance, she could no longer let it go or drive it from her mind. She found all his books. She read everything she could find about him. She analyzed every novel, every note, every review. She knew him better than she knew herself. She was certain that he belonged to the past, some distant past that had left behind only memories. But no. He turned out to be very much alive, though he was a writer, and people often say that writers are vain and forever seeking fame and self-expression. He was not like that. He had been a recluse for as long as he could remember. His books were born in solitude, alone with himself. He created everything for which he remained unknown. Yes, you heard correctly. Unknown. Had people known him, perhaps he would not have lived in a small house on the outskirts of town, but in its very center. Perhaps he would have been afraid to step outside for fear of being captured by paparazzi or devoted readers. But he was not that sort of man. He knew perfectly well the worth of everything he wrote. And so a modest life of seclusion suited him. When she found him and told him how much time she had spent with him, how deeply she understood everything he wrote and the way he wrote it, the old man listened carefully. This was not the first devoted admirer he had encountered. He felt sorry for the girl. She had made a mistake when she assumed he needed everything she was offering him: meetings, honorary banquets, literary evenings, and all the other nonsense so beloved by men of letters. He pitied her for seeing in him something greater than he truly was. The girl believed that her offer was the opportunity of his lifetime. He believed it was merely childish foolishness. She insisted. She had money and connections. He refused. He had lived a long life and experienced too many failures. They had found each other. He asked her to leave. She wanted to stay and tell him more of what she had learned about him. She was ready to take him away with her that very moment and bring him somewhere he would finally be appreciated. He wanted none of it. Childish naivety presented arguments. The measured wisdom of old age countered them with facts. He wanted nothing any more. The final question she asked him as she stood by the door was what he was writing now. But she never received an answer, perhaps because he was writing nothing, or perhaps because he did not want to speak of it, lest he give her hope once again. Already standing outside the door, the girl asked, "When will we see each other again?" To which he replied, "Read the obituaries. Read them, and you'll find out." He closed the door behind her. She never visited him again, and he, for obvious reasons, had no desire to accept her offer. They found each other, but only for the last time.